All right, welcome to part two of this tutorial series. Um, for this, we're going to set up authentication for the users and probably take a look at the initial pages after registration. First and foremost, before I go further, just a little bit of background. I am not by any means an artist. My creativity aspect is gravely lacking. So as far as designing a attractive user interface, it's not something that comes naturally to me. I'm a back end person. I can do the coding and APIs and database and all that stuff, security and things. But as far as what the user actually sees, it's not my strong point. So usually what I do is I go and get some inspiration from Dribble or other websites where people actually know what they're doing, and then work from there. But for this tutorial, I'm not going to worry a whole lot about making this thing look absolutely gorgeous with colors and layout and things like that. But I am going to make it I'm going to structure it in a way that works, and it's not going to look awful, but it definitely won't receive the same attention as another app that I'm deploying to the public sphere. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm not, again, because of my lack of artistic talent, I'm actually going to create I'm going to create a new page for registration. I'm going to use one of their templates. You know what? No, I'm not, because then I can't explain it. So just have to do it this way. Okay. So up here is an app bar. You can select your app bar style if you want to have an app bar. I don't want one for registration, so I'm going to get rid of it. To get rid of things like what I just did, I right-clicked and I cut it and got rid of it that way. Or you can use shortcuts on your keyboard, which for deleting a component is you tap backspace and the letter D, and it'll delete that component. Okay, so I want to do registration. We've already got a column in here, so I don't need to add another column. So I really don't want it to be white. Actually, let's do a gradient. So first I'm going to grab a container and drop it over in here. I'm going to set the width to infinite. And then the height, I'm going to do it as percentage. I'm going to do 100%. And I'm going to scroll down to the properties here on that container, and I'm going to do gradient. And I'm going to set my gradient colors. Let's do that blue, and let's do like a black. Yeah, I like that. And you can add more colors, and you can set the angle of your gradient and your transition points, but we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to leave it like that. Looks nice. All right, so now I've got that. So I'm going to have to put more components in here. I'm probably going to do like a title, name of the app. I'm going to do a email field, a password field, maybe a confirm password field, a registration button, something to indicate if you already have an account, and then a login button. Traditionally, I would put like terms of service and privacy policy links down here, but I'm not going to do that for this. So because I dropped a container in here on top of that column, if I add something Let's just add another. Oh, that's not what I want. And get rid of that. Let's do a button. So you can see, because that container, so in order to put multiple things into that container, I'm going to have a column so that they can be stacked one on top of the other going down the list. Otherwise, if I don't put a column in there and I just add a button, the entire screen becomes that button, because you can only put one component into a container if you don't have a column or a row or a stack. So I'm going to do a column, and that way I can add multiple items onto this page. And so I think for the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a title, and I can add the title directly in here, and I can move it back and forth horizontally if I want to. But depending on screen size, that can cause some problems. So I don't really want to control it that way. I'd rather put a row in here, and then I center that row and drop my text in there like that. And now I can control this row. Sorry. That's not what I want to do. I actually want to do this. I want to center that row inside my my column, and I need to change this so we can see it. And we'll make it bigger, and we'll give it a title. Okay. Now, I'll jump up here real quick and change my screen size. Just want to check a couple things here. Okay. All right. Okay. So there's some things down here. You can do auto size. So if that text is going to be too big for a different screen size, you can auto size it so it'll size down for the screen size. But that doesn't look like it's going to be an issue because I just checked. I believe the iPhone SE is the smallest device they have on here to test, and it fits. So we don't need to change anything with that. You can make it selectable, whatever. So we're going to leave that alone. So that's good to go. So now we need to set up our login form, or our registration form. So to do that, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to grab form validation and grab that box and set the padding. I don't want to butt it right up against that, so I'm actually going to set the padding here, and we're going to set that to let's do 48. Okay, and then just like a container, you have to add a column in here if you want to add multiple fields. So I'm going to drop a column inside my form. I've got my column in here, and now I'm going to go down here and grab some form fields. So we'll grab this one and drop it in here. And we'll start with this one for the email. And let's see here. So we're going to leave max lines as 1 because it's not a multi-line. We'll set the width of that box to 75% of the screen. And let's go ahead and change these things first through here. So we're going to change it to white so we can see it a little better. Actually, yeah, we'll leave it like that. We'll change that to white. And then we're going to get a custom hint style. Here's our hint, so we're going to change that to white as well. So we'll do kind of a gray color. And then the label, if we have a label, yeah, we'll put a label in here. So we're going to do email. And you can see it put that right there, email. And then for the hint text, we'll do enter email. Okay, and then we'll go down here and we're not going to fill it, but we will do an outline. And border color, we'll just do this white. And we'll set the width 1, and we'll set it to 2. And then we'll do a border radius of 12. And we'll leave autofocus turned on. So text field, so all that looks good. So now we got our email, and now I'm just gonna duplicate that thing instead of recreating it over and over again. For our password field, I'm gonna put some padding between these. So we're gonna do more than that, it's not enough. Do 18, and we'll just change the wording on here. So we'll change this to password, and we'll change enter password. All right, so now we've got our enter email and enter password fields here. And there's our column. Okay, so now we're going to grab, or we're gonna right click and we're gonna go back to the form component, and we're going to automatically validate. We're gonna select our fields for that. So this will let us know that this field is required. And you can set maximum, minimum or maximum characters when they're entering that. So that's useful for some things. So we're not going to worry about that. Well, actually for password, oops, back to that. For password, we are going to have a minimum requirement on that, which would be text field 2, which I could rename these to be more identifiable. As a matter of fact, for best practices, we should do that. So we're going to do email, and then do that for password. Okay, now we'll go back into our form here. And then for password, we are going to have a minimum. So we're going to require 8 character password. Okay, that'll be good. Okay, so now we want to drop a button in here for registration. And we're going to put some padding between the button and the form. And then I am going to no, I'm not going to do it that way, because we need to have something else there. So actually we're going to do a row. Come on now. Keep it down like that. Then we're going to do evenly space. No, we're going to do end to end. So spaced end to end. And so we're going to have to bring these in a bit. And then I'm going to drop another row inside that row. And then I'm going to drop a button. And I don't really want my button way over there. So probably, let's try that. Yeah, 48 looks good. Okay. That's going to have to be a bit further, since I'm doing that other part. So let's actually do 28. All right, so in this little row that I created here, so the reason I did that was I want to add some text and then another button, and I want those two things to be grouped closely together. And so I have to put them in their own row, since the primary row is splitting these two to the very end here. So that way I'm not having to do a bunch of padding on all these various things to make them fit where I want to. I just put another row inside that row, and then I can drop some text in here. And set that to white. It's way too big. And then I can do another button, and I want to butt it right up next to it. So you see this would drop it in the main row. If I go over here, you can kind of see that little blue line. And that way I'm right next to that button. And I'm gonna be really squeezed here. Yeah, I'm not overly happy with that idea of being squeezed in there. So I'm going back to my original idea. So anyway, yeah, back to the original idea. I'm gonna grab a button, gonna set that to 12. I'm gonna move it over here manually, kind of line it up. And then I'm gonna change this to register. I'm gonna change my background to, let's do this green. Yeah, I'll do that. And leave everything else the same. I don't want to have the loading indicator on. When somebody taps that, it'll spin if it's loading. I don't want that. I want that off. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. All right, so all that looks good. So we'll just leave that alone. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to drop a row in here. Drop this down. Do it by 20 padding. We're going to do this. Just get it off the edge here and do it by 14. And then we will drop some text in. Make it white. And I still want it smaller, so I'm going to do 12. And we'll type already have an account, question mark. And then we'll drop another button right there next to that. And let's space evenly. Yeah, we'll space evenly. I'm actually going to remove background, so I'm going to go to transparent, log in, make that 12, and turn that off. Okay, so that looks good. Now I got a login button. All right, so there's the basic rundown of kind of building out a very, very simple registration page. So now we need to actually apply the actions for this to register a user. So we're going to tap on the register button. We're going to go up here to the actions sidebar. And then I'm going to do, you can add a single action and work from a single action here. I like to go into the action flow editor. And then you've got on tap, double tap, or on long press. We're obviously just going to do on tap. And we're going to add an action. The very first thing that we're going to do is Firebase authentication. We're going to do create an account. And the auth provider is going to be email because it's what I set it up as. And so email, I'm going to tap on that, and then we're going to choose our email field. Oh, there's one step that I forgot. Let me go back here. So in your password field, after you get that set up, you do need to scroll down here. Come on now, my mouse is messing up on me. And you want to set it as a password field. So it's important that you do that. So set it as a password field. Now go back to register. And now you can choose your password field right here. Okay. And we're not going to have it confirmed, so don't worry about that. We do want to create a user document, so have that turned on and it'll set it in that collection. You can add some fields here. It'll automatically put their email address into the email field, so you don't have to do that. It'll fill that out automatically, so you don't need to do that either. And the rest of this stuff, we don't need any of that done right now, so we're actually going to just leave that the way it is, and that's good to go. So since it's the only page we have, that's all we can do right now. I'll leave that alone. Now I'm going to go over here to my page structure. Tap on my home page here, and which I'm actually going to rename this because I want it to be clear. Let's be registration. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. And then I'm going to rename that as login. And now I'm going to go to my container that is gradient, and I'm actually gonna like reverse my colors here, like that. And then we'll do welcome back. We just changed relevant information here, change it to login. Oh, whoa. I don't know what just happened there. It jumped around. I have an account, and we'll set that to register. And while we're on this button, let's go ahead and add an action editor. And I'm just going to add a single action here, and we're going to do navigate to registration. I'm going to leave back navigation turned on, and I'm just going to do slide left. Okay. And then on the login, we are going to change from auth create account to auth login. And these are already set for these fields, and you're good to go on that. Okay, so your registration, your login pages are created, ready to go. So we need to, from here, we need some place for these to go. And you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, create a folder for my own sake to keep up with this stuff. And I'm gonna call this onboarding, or I'm gonna try and call it onboarding. And wow, they actually, okay. They changed some more stuff again. Yeah, they did. Okay. All right. Well, they made some more updates to things, so just a little unfamiliar. But anyway, so I put these pages under the onboarding folder. That way I can keep things organized. And so the next thing I want to do is I want to have some place for the registration page to go to, and we'll worry about login and where it goes to at another time. And while I'm here, let me go ahead and set my login to go to that login page, navigate to login, and then do that as slide right. Okay. So we need to have an onboarding page, what comes after registration. So I'm going to create another page, and again, I'm going to well, yeah, so I'm going to use one of their pre-mates for this, and we're going to use their create profile. That's where I want it to go next. Okay, so I don't know what's up with this. I think it's a glitch in Flutterflow, but this is an app bar that comes with the page, and it like has this stuff all pushed up and it's cutting it off. And so I usually just get rid of that because there's no reason for it. They're not going to be going back anyway. So now that I have this here, let's go ahead and finish up the registration. Go back to the registration button. We're going to open up here, and then we're going to do add an action and a navigate to. And we're going to navigate to create profile. And we're going to turn this off because we don't want them to be able to navigate back from there. And then we'll do slide left. So that's set up and ready to go. And I disable the Android back button on every page because I just don't want it to add conflict to anything that I'm doing in here. All right, so I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to turn on safety area so that it will auto adjust everything down or up so that it's within the parameter of whatever screen size you're looking at. You can see it changes that for you. Whereas otherwise, if I had that turned off, it would be up here, and then I would have to use padding to get it down. And I don't want to do that on this page because the background is just going to be a solid color, so it's not going to be impacted. So I'm going to do safe area. You can turn that off. I'm going to hide keyboard on tap. That way you can tap outside of a field and it'll hide the keyboard. And so now we're good to go here. Oops. Okay. All right, so for creating a profile, so we want them to obviously upload their picture. We set up two different fields for name. We did a first name and a last name field, so we're going to change this. And then we'll just duplicate it, make it easy. And we'll change that to last name. And instead of your city, we're going to change that to zip code. And we don't need this. I'm going to get rid of that, and we'll leave bio in here as well. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and do one more. Duplicate. And we're going to have them select a display name as well, or we'll set it as username. All right. And then down here with your bio, so you can see that it's a bigger field. So you can set the max number of lines if you want to, so that they can only fill out three lines worth. You can also set that to 0. Do your minimum lines is 1. Scroll down here. They've moved all this stuff around again. And we'll change that to multi-line. And so as they fill that out, once they reach the end, it'll automatically expand if you want to do it that way. But I'm actually not going to do it that way. I'm going to leave it as as 3 lines. So we'll just leave it alone. We'll do 3 lines. Now, one thing, notice there is no form. So we're not going to be able to validate, so we're going to have to add that. And just realized I need to go back here. Because that's set to autofocus. So you know that our email field was set to autofocus, and then we duplicated it for our password. So you want to make sure that your password is not also set to autofocus. And same thing for registration. All right, and we'll go ahead. Let's make sure this is not okay. It's not set to autofocus. That's good. The zip code field. Let's change that to number, so it brings up the number keypad on their phone, and that way they can only type numbers in there. But as noted, we need to add a form validation in here. So we need to grab our form widget down here, go ahead and drop that in there, and go ahead and put a column in there as well. And then we're gonna tap on this. Let's go ahead and grab that. Hold down your control button. I'm sorry, not your control button. Your shift key. Shift key, and then tap on all of them. So you can grab all of them. And then we're going to, that's right, they won't let you move all of them at one time. Shoot, forgot about that. Dang it, okay. All right. So we're just going to move them one at a time. So to make that easier, we're actually going to go over here, and we're going to, no, you know what, I'm going to just do it this way. Okay. I have to drop it on top. Sometimes things don't want to work quite right here. Well, shoot. There we go. Grab our username, and zip code, bio. There we go. Now we're where we want to be. And get rid of that. I'm not sure what that was being used for. It was used for something in here. Okay. So now we got our form in here now, so that's good. There we go. Okay. So now we want to access our form, and we want to make sure that we got auto validate, and we need to change these because they are titled as the same. So we'll just do first and last, and username. Okay, that's all good now. All right, now back to our form. And we'll set these all validated here. And then for zip, we're going to do 5, because that's what it should be, and 5 as well. So minimum, maximum are both 5, and for the username, we'll do minimum has to be 5. We'll do a maximum of 12. Okay. Now up here, so let's just get rid of this. If you want to have it indicating for them to tap this to upload a picture, you're going to have to get a filler picture to look like this, because what Flutterflow has put in here, it's not available to use it, unfortunately. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I don't really know what's up with that. So if I try and replace this with something, which I don't have anything, but if I do, let me look at assets real quick. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna delete that. And I'm gonna delete that too. I don't really need that. And then I'm gonna grab circle image down here. Okay. And we'll do a button, I guess. It's not ideal. Doesn't look the best, but it'll work for what we're doing here. Yeah, I want that width a little bit wider. I don't want, I think I'll do blue, a darker blue. And I'll change our font size, something a little smaller. And that'll work for that. And then we need to put some padding here between that and our fields below. Okay, that'll work that way. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to tap on the picture, and I want to go down here to the path. I want to have it as network, and I want to set the path. Okay. You know what? I think. Oh, yeah. Got a couple things we need to do real quick before I can finish that. So initial page. Let's set that as our initial page. We're just going to set that like that for now. We're going to go up here and go to our settings for our Firebase. We're going to go ahead and deploy our rules. And leave that the way it is. Groups, let's go ahead and get all this changed over before we move on. So what I'm doing is I'm making the rules so that only authenticated users can create, read, write, or delete inside of these collections. Okay, now I can deploy my rules. Let's go ahead and get that done, deploy. All right, we're good to go there. Okay, and move on. Oops. That's pretty cool. That'll be handy. All right, let's see here. There we go. So I wanted that authenticated user to pop up, and that would be the person that just created their account. And so I'm going to click on them, and I'm going to choose photo URL. So once they upload a photo, it'll show up here because it's tied to their account. So in order to do that, what we could do is we could have this actually show, if you wanted to do it this way, there are a couple of ways to do it. So you could actually have it go down to widget state, and then well, I gotta set the button first. Sorry. So let's set the button real quick. I'll open this up. I'm gonna add an action, and we're gonna go down here to upload media and upload photo, and then we're gonna set that upload type to Firebase, just a photo, and I want them to only use their gallery. And show the uploading snack bar, and then we can leave that alone. So now you could actually show this photo URL as from widget state. You could do uploaded file URL. So once they upload the photo, it'll automatically show that there. But what I'm actually going to do, instead of that, I'm going to leave it as the authenticated user's photo URL. I'm going to go in here, and I'm still going to leave the upload action. Then I'm going to add another action. I'm going to go to Firestore, and I'm going to update. And I'm going to update the authenticated user reference. I'm going to add a field, and then I'm going to select the photo URL for their profile. And then I'm going to select uploaded photo. So that way it's actually already tied to their account. Okay. So that'll show up once they upload their photo. And change that to create profile. We're going to make that 16, make it a little bit smaller. We're going to make the colors the same. And let's see, our padding on this is 8. So I'm going to change this to 8 so that they are the same. Okay. All right. So we've got them creating their photo now. So now we need to get them to create their profile. And so we'll add an action in here, and we're going to go to Firestore, and we're going to update a document, and we're going to update the authenticated user. And we'll add some fields. So for the first field, we're going to go down here, and we're going to grab their first name from variable, and then we'll grab widget state and choose first, and so on and so forth down the line. So next up will be last name, variable, widget, and last. And then it looks like username. So for here, I'm just going to select display name because we didn't change that to username. And variable, username. And then zip code, we'll do that. We'll do variable, and we'll grab the widget state and grab zip. And then lastly, we'll do the bio. Let's see here. I didn't, okay. I guess we never created a bio in the user's account, so let's take care of that real quick. Make it a string. And now we can choose bio, variable, widget state, and my bio. Okay, so now it's going to save all that information they just filled in to their account, and so that takes care of that. So after that, so you can do other onboarding if you want to. You can do onboarding pages like these, kind of give an explanation of your app. Usually these come before registration, but I'm not going to do anything like that for this app. So after create profile, this will actually direct to their homepage, their dashboard, whatever we decide to do for that purpose. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to do for this second tutorial. And we'll just leave that as white. We'll go in and edit colors and stuff here in a little bit, or in the next couple of tutorials we'll do that and change the light and dark mode color scheme. But anyway, so that's a good place to start there for logging in, registration, login, and creating their initial profile to show up. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this tutorial here. In the next one, we'll move on from there to going into main user pages. We'll work on user profile pages, user account settings, maybe dashboard or something like that if we need that. It may be relevant, may not. We'll figure out what is needed as we go along and work from there. And then once we get all the main stuff kind of set up, the user profiles, things like that, and the user interface, then we'll really dig into the back end of things as far as doing local rules if we need to have local rules on the local state rules on the app. We'll do some API calls if we need them, and of course we'll also plug in some custom code, add in some basic features, but good features to have nonetheless. And we'll kind of dive into how all that works. Okay, that's it for now. Take care.